Hello everybody and welcome to Table Talk. Today we will be taking a look at the DC deck building game by Cryptazoic Entertainment. This game was first released back in 2012. This is going to be the base set that I'm showing you today, which was the first one released by the company. And since then, many expansions have come out offering different levels of strategy, different game modes, a lot of different variants in how you want to play the game. Originally, this is designed to be a 2 to 5 player game, taking anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half, maybe up to 2 hours, depending on how many supervillains you choose to play against. And it is not a co-op game. Everyone is versing each other to win. You win by acquiring as many victory points as possible, but other variants and other game modes, like I said, have become available. You could play in teams. You can acquire expansions called crisis expansions later on that show you an available variant that actually lets you have a co-op ability to play the game where everyone is playing against the computer or the box itself. So, like I said, this is going to be a deck building game. What that means is, well, you're going to be building a deck. So as far as the game goes, you're going to be starting with 10 cards called starter cards that everybody gets. Everyone gets the same 10 cards to start the game with. That's the base deck that you have at the beginning, and everyone slowly acquires more and more cards to build their deck up, make it stronger, synergize different cards together that you acquire, and able to create these huge synergies and combos and acquire an amount of power that's going to let you defeat supervillains, attack your enemies, defend against their attacks, and acquire as many victory points as you can. Another cool aspect of this game is that there is individuality. Everyone doesn't start with the same exact setup, because while your cards in your deck are the same as everybody else's that's starting the game, you get something individual to you. That is going to be an oversized large card representing some of the characters from this universe. Most of them are going to be superheroes, although there is an expansion called Forever Evil, which lets you play as the super villains. But this base set, as you can see in the drawing in front of you, shows you some of the characters that you can play as with this game. You could start playing as Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Batman, Cyborg, or Green Lantern. And those different characters are going to give you an ability on their oversized card that's going to affect the course of your game. It's going to change the strategies that you choose to go with. It's going to affect the way that you approach different ways to play the game. Different cards that are available for you to buy and acquire into your deck are going to be based off of their synergies and combos that can go with the character that you choose. So that's definitely an aspect of the game that I really enjoy. Adds a lot of replayability, a lot of different strategies to explore, and what makes this game very, very fun. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the game and see how it works. Everybody, so here we are with the basic layout of the game. As you can see, all of the components that make up this game are going to be simply different types of cards in different stacks. You have the playing area in front of you, and then you're going to have your own little playing area that is for each individual character. Here we're going to have the main deck of cards. This is going to create the basic marketplace where you're going to be able to acquire most of the cards that are going to go into your deck and shape it up to be stronger and stronger. The main deck is going to comprise a lineup of cards, which I can actually lay out here in front of you to show you 5 different cards that are available for everybody to buy. And as these cards get purchased over the course of the game, different cards from the main deck fill up those spots. Here you go. Over here, we're also going to have a stack of kicks, a certain type of card that's available for you to buy no matter what happens. Therefore, if you only acquire a certain amount of power on your turn, and maybe all of the cards available in the lineup are too expensive, or if you simply do not want them, you're always able to buy a kick, at least until the stack runs out. Each kick card is exactly the same and offers you a small little boost of power when used on your turn. The middle stack here is going to be weakness cards. These are cards that you do not want in your deck because at the end of the game, they give you negative victory points. As you can see by the beautiful Joker's smile that's depicted on the picture, those are kind of cards that you're going to try to get rid of. They're going to get into your deck from the attacks of your opponents and the attacks of the supervillains, and you're going to try to destroy them and get them out of there before the game ends. Over here, the last stack at the top is going to be your supervillain stack. These are the baddies that you are trying to defeat and actually acquire because they are super powerful inside of your deck, and once the last one has been defeated, the game ends. They give you huge boosts to victory points and are usually the goal of the game. Most turns, when you have enough power to destroy these, you're going to actually want to destroy them, although sometimes there are cards that come up here that are almost as desirable or possibly more desirable than these cards here. As you can see, they represent characters that we all know. Ra's al Ghul, one of Batman's villains, is here, and the stack beneath him, as they come out surprisingly, are going to show you different types of characters that you know: Lex Luthor, Black Manta, Mr. Freeze, so on and so forth. Over here, I've shown some of the character cards that you're going to be able to choose when the game begins. Now, these have some stickers and are laminated because I've tried to preserve them, but they normally come just like these cards, except bigger versions. They do not come laminated this way. But this is just something that I did to preserve them. Feel free to do it as well. I think it works pretty well. But as you can see, you have the Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Superman. All of the main characters that are outlined in this basic set that you get. You're going to be able to choose one, and then even in possible other variants that I play with my friends, we play with multiple of these, which really shapes up the game and makes for allowing to have different combos. Each one has some text at the bottom that shows you what it does. Flash specifically says that when you use him, you get to go first, so your turn is going to be the first one to start the game, and he tells you that every time you draw a card for the first time in each of your turns, you get to draw an additional card, which is pretty cool. Other ones do different things. Green Lantern gives you power when you play 3 different type of cards with different names that each cost 1 or more. Aquaman lets you put a card you buy during your turn on top of your deck if it costs 5 or less. Batman gives you power for equipment. Cyborg gives you power for superpowers as well as drawing from equipment. Superman gives you power for superpowers. And Wonder Woman lets you draw extra cards if you've purchased villains. So they all do different things and are all going to shape your style of play. You can either pass these out randomly or select them with your different players that are playing the game with you. Different ways to do that. Really fun. A lot of individuality allowed with these. So just for the purpose of this game, I'm going to go ahead and say that I select Batman. So I'm going to put him here. And then the last area here to show is going to show you the starter cards. Now these are the cards that everybody starts with. The exact same amount everyone begins the game with, along with their different character cards, and then everyone starts to play their own way. You're going to get 7 punch cards and 3 vulnerability cards. Together that makes 10 cards total, which you are going to go ahead and shuffle to begin the game so that you can draw your first hand of 5 cards. Now the way this game operates is around a currency called power. During your turns, you're going to be drawing cards. You'll be destroying cards. You will be acquiring cards. You will be attacking people, defending against other attacks. All of those different things are going to end your turns with a certain amount of power that's going to let you buy cards from the lineup. So we're going to go ahead and put this here after we've shuffled. I'm going to go ahead and draw my first 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right here, I am showing 2 vulnerabilities and 3 punches. The vulnerabilities do nothing for me. They're simply like weaknesses. They're not as bad as weaknesses because they don't give you negative victory points, but you do want them out of your hand because they do nothing for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them and put them aside and just show you my 3 relevant cards, which are the punches, which give you 1 power. And just to show you the card breakup here, nice DC Comics logo right there, the title of the card, which is a punch, the color of the top line and the middle line and the bottom line are yellow, which shows you that that is the type of card it is. It is a starter type card. This is the power that it gives, 1 power. All the abilities of the cards are written in this text area here. And then the bottom simply shows victory points and the cost of the card. Both of these say 0 because you start with this card. But as you can see, the 3 of them give me 3 power total. And now I have 3 power for this turn that I can use to buy cards with. Now I have 3 different options of cards to buy from the lineup, as well as the kick, which always costs 3. And I'm gonna go ahead and take Aquaman's Trident because it is an equipment type card, which has great synergy with Batman because Batman tells me that I get +1 power for each equipment I play. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase Aquaman's Trident, and this is how this works. My playing cards that I have here that I use this turn, plus the cards that I bought, plus cards that I have either played as well or are still in my hand and I simply do not want to use. All of them go together into the stack of the discard pile as used cards, bought cards, no matter what, everything ends there at the end of your turn, and you go ahead and draw your next hand out of your deck. I only have 5 more cards to draw because I started with 10. So I picked up all my cards, having 4 power now, and then the next player's turn continues and so on and so forth. Let's say it's my second turn after everyone has gone. This empty spot in the lineup gets filled. And as you can see, I have more cards to choose from. I have 4 power this time. And just for the sake of it, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm gonna buy High Tech Hero. He only costs 3 and I have 4, which means I actually have a power left over, but there are no cards here costing 1 power. So therefore my turn is simply gonna end after I buy this card because I have nothing else to do. And this is a neat card because he says that if I play an equipment during my turn, I get +3 power. So if I can somehow get this to play at the same turn that I play my Aquaman's Trident, which I bought the turn before, it's going to give me a huge boost of power, which might let me buy a really expensive card and possibly even a supervillain. So I'm gonna go ahead and put High Tech Hero, plus the cards that I played, into my discard pile. And now, as you can see, I have no more cards to draw, which means I'm gonna go ahead and have to take my discard pile and then make it into my new deck, therefore building a deck. And the game is gonna go ahead and continue in this fashion. As your deck gets bigger and bigger, anytime you need to draw, when you don't have a deck to draw from, you're gonna shuffle your discard pile into your new deck, thus creating a better deck from what it was before, with your newly acquired cards, becoming stronger and stronger, and being able to acquire more and more power and have better and better synergies. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish shuffling here. I'll go ahead and draw my new hand, which may include one of the cards that I just bought, hopefully. Let's see. Yes, it did. Fantastic. I have Aquaman's Trident here. So I'm going to play my 3 punches for 3 power. My vulnerability still does nothing for me. I'll try to destroy it later if I can. And Aquaman's Trident is going to give me 2 power. So that's going to give me a total of 5 power. Now I get +1 power because of Batman, because I get +1 power for each equipment I play, which actually gives me a total of 6. And I also have Aquaman Trident's ability, which says you may put any 1 card you buy or gain this turn on top of your deck. So with my 6 power, I'm going to buy this great Blue Beetle defense card, and I'm actually going to be able to put it on top of my deck because of Aquaman's Trident ability, guaranteeing that I get to draw this next great card next turn. And therefore, that is the basic play of the game, guys. Some other aspects to let you know. Blue Beetle is actually a defense card, which is pretty cool. If you read it, it says you may reveal this card from your hand to avoid an attack. Some cards, just like this saying defense here in bold, are going to say attack in bold. And I'm actually going to rifle through the main deck here and try to find one to show you. Hopefully I do not have to go very, very far to do it. Let's see, drawing more defenses here. Super Strength, that's a pretty good card. Clayface is a great, oh, here we go. Poison Ivy. Usually the villain cards are the attack cards, which makes sense because the villains are trying to hurt you. But this says here, attack. Each foe discards the top card of his deck. If its cost is 1 or greater, that player gains a weakness. I don't want weaknesses. If I had Blue Beetle in my hand, when another player plays this card, I can go ahead and use Blue Beetle to avoid the attack. And that's how the attacks and defenses work. And another aspect to know is that when the supervillains are defeated, the top one goes away into the deck of the person that bought him. Let's say I bought him, so he goes away. The next supervillain, who is face down, gets flipped face up and has a first appearance attack that affects everybody who doesn't defend or isn't able to defend against the attack. So these are going to hurt you as well when they come out before you can acquire them and use them in your deck. This is a pretty cool card. Brainiac, a well-known character, and he has an appearance attack here and also has an ability above the attack that lets you do something when you acquire him. And everyone, that is going to be the basic layout of the game and the basic functionality of turn-to-turn play. So if you have any questions beyond this, any questions about the rules, please ask in the comment section. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I have played this game for many, many, many hours, including all the expansions that I've acquired. And me and my friends have been able to figure out, for the most part, how almost all the cards work, as well as their synergies together. So let me know if you have any questions. All right, everybody. So I hope you've enjoyed this review so far. I wanted to show you some of the expansions I've acquired over the years here. I've almost acquired every single expansion. Some come in big boxes, which are going to be bigger expansions, which add a lot more content to the game. Some are smaller and add smaller modes or things, specific variants for you to play. This top one here is a Rivals set, which is a Batman vs. Joker set, specifically meant for a 1 vs. 1, which is pretty fun. And so this is going to be all the available items inside the franchise. The base set, like I said, is here and offers you enjoyment, although you can go ahead and get more games to add to it and add a lot more characters to choose from. And overall, I hope you've enjoyed and learned a little bit more about this game. I definitely recommend it in terms of just regular board games that people want to play and pick up on that are easy to understand. The game is highly intuitive, has a nice polish, great artwork. The rules are simple and understandable to follow. The universe is vast and fantastic. It involves characters that we've known since we were children, that lots of people enjoy playing with and getting to know. A lot of the side characters, smaller villains and heroes that I didn't even know existed because I didn't grow up reading the comics are inside this game. So when you're watching TV series or playing video games or watching the movies that have come out that have expanded this universe, you're even able to pick up on things from those because you're able to find them in this game first, which is pretty cool. So overall, I definitely rate this game very highly. Replayability, you can have just hours and hours and hours of fun playing this game. There is so much content that's available. It will keep you playing through different strategies, new ways to play, different variants, trying out all the different character cards that allow you to individualize this game and have a different connection. It's going to keep you coming back for many, many times before you even start getting bored. In terms of the look of the game, very intuitive, like I said, great artwork right out of the comics, beautiful colors. I mean, as you can see here, so much different cool stuff to work with. And then the last category I'd say is probably the strategy of the game and how luck-based it is. Again, I think it scores pretty highly. Of course, there's the aspect of luck that when cards are revealing themselves from the main deck, the marketplace where you can buy cards. Of course, some cards are better than others, and if it's your opponent's turn to go next, you just finish your turn, and the empty slot on the lineup that you just bought a card from gets filled by a fantastic card that the opponent can use really well against you. Of course, there's that aspect of luck that you just can't help, but besides that, there are a lot of different ways to play the game. A lot of strategy is involved, despite the elements of luck that do exist, so therefore I would say it even scores highly on that. So, like I said, fantastic game, really great deck building game. I still consider it a board game, although there's not technically a board, and I think it's fun for people of all ages. No matter how much of a hardcore gamer you are, I think everyone can enjoy this game. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you've enjoyed this TableTalk review, and there'll be definitely more to come. Please stay tuned, hit the like button, subscribe if you want, and I hope you enjoy further videos to come. Thanks, everyone.